let's talk about anger and forgiveness. So, two things that I think they're related, or they're related in a lot of situations. Anger is, it's normal. It's, everybody experiences it at some point in their life. And there's nothing like inherently wrong with being angry about a situation or even angry at a person. But it's like the way that you react to it, right? So I'm in this ladies' Bible class that we meet on Tuesdays, and we're going through this book called Seasoning Your Words. And it's about mastering your tongue and using your words for good rather than for nefarious purposes. And one of the chapters was on anger. And one of the things that I think has served me really well in my life is that I am more slow to anger than short fused. Sometimes I have a short fuse that could pop off real fast. And I'm sure you could probably find a story where that was true. And I wouldn't deny it, but because, I've definitely been known to do that. But for the most part, I kind of tend to sit back and think about the stuff happening, consider the situation, the external and internal influences on a situation, and then figure out what my reaction needs to be. Some have called me calculated, and that has been used in a negative way on me, but I actually I'll cop to being calculated, but I don't think it's necessarily an inherently bad thing. I think that has been one of the things that's helped me, get through a lot of the stuff, is because I don't, anger does not consume me because I am slow to react to a situation. And it's helped me to, bring the emotion level down, the panic and that heightened sense of rage. It lowers when you're slower to respond to a particular situation. So, and I think that's what the Bible wants us to do, right? Is be slow to anger. And that's the reason, I think, because then you're not so emotional. You can kind of judge a situation. Perhaps the situation doesn't even require a reaction. It might just be, something that needs to be let it go. But you can kind of judge that out if you step back and think about things. So the other thing with anger, is that with being slow to respond to it, and something that, and this, by the way, is something that I work hard at. Okay. I used to pop off a lot faster. So, this is like a trainable, learnable skill. And I think it's one that people should do more often, is learn how to slow and control that. But, one of the benefits there is that I can address, most of the time, I am focused on the situation, not the person that caused the situation or the other party involved in the situation, right? So, in reference specifically to the stuff that I've been talking about, the teenage relationship, someone asked me if I harbor any ill will or anger toward that guy still, and I don't. I don't. The flip side of that is that I don't harbor any good intentions for him either, which is probably not a really great thing to admit to, but it's true. I really don't ever think about him. So, and I know that maybe that sounds crazy, but that's when I talk about it, and I've been going through these videos and reliving this stuff that went on, I am not thinking about the guy. It's the situation, it's the stuff that happened, and the way that things made me feel. That's what I've carried with me. The guy, like, really, like, I'm done, and move on, and that is like legitimately how I feel. I stopped thinking about him. Probably, I kept tabs on him for a little while just because I was very afraid. So in college, I had caught wind that he was maybe considering moving to Tallahassee. I don't even know if that's true, but that's what I had been told, and it made me panic. Um, but it either didn't happen or I never saw him. But um, that was kind of the last time I remember, like, ever really looking or thinking really about the guy. So he could be like out doing his thing, no idea, don't care. And I don't want to know. So if you have like put two and two together and know who I'm talking about, like, I don't want to know. Um, so, but I don't harbor any anger, which I think, again, has served me very well. It's gotten me to this point. I think part of that is also one of those, like, helping things that helped me get through everything. Like, I talked about that in the very first um, um, chapter on the blog. If you read that, it talks about how, like, I wasn't really sure how I survived it or why I was here, what the bigger purpose is. But I think one of the things that helped me through the last 26 years is the fact that I didn't hold on to the anger. Um, I didn't necessarily handle it, though, in a healthy way, the processing and emotions, because what I did was, like, I locked that crap up into a box I couldn't look at, in like a, you know, a sealed, solid, opaque container, shoved that in the back of the car. So it's always been there, but I can't look at it, I can't see it. And, it's like kind of like trying to do the whole out of sight, out of mind thing. That does not work with big stuff like that, okay? That box started to grow, and, like, it got bigger and bigger. Other things were happening, other things were going in there, and then it was like, it just, like, kind of exploded. So, the book that we're reading in this Bible class is talks about anger as being like inside a pressure cooker, and, like, if you don't release the pressure, it will explode. And there is a safe way to release pressure, and there's a dangerous way to release the pressure, but either way, it's coming out. And I agree with that for anger, and I also agree with that for stuff like this, like these major things that, like, really, really need to sit down and process. Okay, you cannot pack this crap into a box and hope for the best. It does not work that way. It will come back. I am living proof that it will come back, and it will be so loud and so huge that you simply cannot move forward without addressing all of the stuff. So that is that's my takeaway from, like, it's going to come out. So learn to process it. But one of the things that's helped me through is the fact that I can sit back, slow down, think about everything. But really, I got through those few years by just pure denial, like, head down like an ostrich, right? They stick their head in the sand, like, I can't see you, I can't see all the danger, so therefore I'm okay, and that's not true. So that's anger, and I think that is part of how, like, I've gotten here to be right here. Forgiveness, which I think is, like, kind of associated with, right? Because if something has happened, if someone has made you angry at some point, there needs to be some kind of level of forgiveness in order to move on. Forgive and forget is a trite cliche that I utterly hate. Is trite cliche redundant? But I don't like it. Forgive and forget, because I think only morons forget. That is it's potentially dangerous, and it's so idiotic to force somebody to, like, just forget how crappy I've been treating you. Um, you do it one time and you forgive somebody, like, okay, like if it's a repeated pattern of behavior, it's nothing to be forgiven for. It is just who that person is, and it is time to cut ties and move on. And do not forget, because they're not going to change. So, um, oh, I have such a difficult relationship with forgiveness. Um, so yeah, I mean, it just is. It's a struggle. Somebody else asked me if I forgive this person for the stuff that happened 26 years ago. Oh man, I really don't know. Um, like I said, I don't think about him, so maybe yes, maybe that counts as forgiveness. I have never actually like said to myself, like I said, I do not want to talk to him, but I've never said to myself like, oh, I forgive him for all this stuff. It still makes me a little mad. Um, because it is 26 years and I am still struggling with this stuff and it's been with me. So that part frustrates me and does make me mad. Not to the point of like harboring resentment or anything like that, um, but then is it forgiveness if I just never think about that person? I don't know. Um, I don't actively wish like bad things on him. Um, but I also don't actively wish good things on him. I really just don't wish anything about him. Um, like, this is the most that I've ever spent thinking about or talking about him. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that counts as forgiveness or not. I feel like in me, so if forgiveness is supposed to be for the one offering the forgiveness, like, and it's, to drop the weight of all of the garbage that you're carrying around, then maybe, because I don't feel like, I don't know. It's strange. I really I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Um, Forgiveness is has been a struggle. Yeah, it's probably the hardest thing for me. Um, and I think maybe a lot of people would agree with it. Like true, real forgiveness is very hard. Um, Especially because people are complicated and people are horrible to one another. And um, then when you have like a repeated pattern of behavior, and somebody just completely disregards the way that you voice some concerns about the way that something is hurting you, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, you forgive that, and then they just continue to keep doing it. Um, yeah, the Bible says that we're supposed to keep forgiving, but it doesn't say ever anywhere that you have to forget. And it also doesn't say that you have to put up with crappy behavior from people. You can forgive, cut ties, and move on. And I think in situations where I have been able to really cut ties and move on, that has been it's been easier, I guess, for me. So maybe, yes, maybe then I do consider um, consider all the stuff forgiven because I have cut ties and moved on and never plan on returning there. Um, it's a lot harder when it's somebody that like you can't do that with. Um, and where this is a person who is going to constantly be like in your circle of existence, and then because it's unrealistic to think that you can just cut anybody out or have carte blanche there. But yeah, so that's probably the hardest one for me, is when it's somebody that I can't just like ghost. So I don't know. Tips and tricks would be much appreciated. I promise to share them if they work.